The New York Times is under attack for its article on John McCain and his relationship with a female lobbyist. Did the paper go too far? Analyst Thom will join us as we talk about the media's role in the race for president.
Senator Barack Obama, Senator Hillary Clinton faced off in their 19th debate last night down in Texas. Will it all come down to the Lone Star State?
On the Republican side, Senator McCain called the New York Times a lie, a report of a questionable relationship with a lobbyist. The paper, though, still standing by their story. Political consultant Thom joins us right now to give us his take.
Yeah, this was certainly all the talk in our morning meeting yesterday after we take that press conference live. Another politician having to come out to deny a story and say it's all a lie. And it got us to really talking about the media's role in all of this and how the New York Times is looked at as this respectable paper, obviously very liberal as well. Why come out with something that happened 10 years ago now? Why start, going into this whole situation with McCain?
Well, to answer your first question, the old great lady is making an effort to be relevant. I mean, it's been considered the liberal publication, and the conservatives hate it. In fact, they endorsed McCain in the primary, and then McCain's people said, well, that's going to be good for us or bad for us, but the conservatives hate that publication, so it's not good for McCain. So this thing has been percolating in the New York Times for 3 months. They've been fighting amongst themselves whether they should go with this story, whether they should not go with this story. When Bill Clinton was president and he had the issues with Jennifer Flowers, it never made the front page. This innuendo story, really based on two anonymous sources, made the front page, and they're still fighting about it. The New Republic was going to do an investigative piece on how this story got there. They published their story yesterday. So it's a battle within the media world. You have two candidates, a Republican and a Democrat for president, and then you have a third candidate, a third player. That's the media. That goes to the heart of your question.
Well, this always goes back, too, to Dan Rather and the story he did on President George W. Bush,
right.
And that, CBS took a lot of flack from that, and they pulled him from that seat as well.
Yeah.
So do you think in this situation, the New York Times is going to have to do their own, maybe, investigation with an arbitrator, not somebody in their own publication?
Yeah, they all have their public editors, but they're trying to sell newspapers. And in the business of newspapers today, as you see from our own problems with the Tribune and the Sun-Times, that business is kind of going south, and they're trying to reinvent themselves. So Marla Maples, who's the producer on the Dan Rather story, used to work here in town. She's now going out and doing seminars on how you deal with the new media today. So what you have is MSNBC, you have the Fox network, you have all the cable operations rushing to judgment on being the first on these stories. Then you have the Drudge Report. The Drudge Report actually broke this story last fall, that they were doing something like this in December. And so everybody at the Times shut down. Well, we don't want Drudge to break our story. He broke the Monica Lewinsky story. And I remember last week we were talking about, is McCain the prohibitive favorite? And we joked about the fact that he is, unless a Gary Hart type story breaks. And this is the kind of story that...
Yeah, but come on, there's no video.
There's nothing.
There's no phone call.
They're words, and they can be damaging.
And here's the thing, they are words, but it's an anonymous source. Anybody can say anything, so why even print it if there's... what kind of evidence do they really have? Just anonymous sources?
Right, and the innuendo was that he doesn't help lobbyists, and he wrote 2 letters to help one of her clients. They don't tell you that AP reports that he wrote 12 times, or 12 times he went against one of her clients, or other clients, I should say. So 2 times writing letters for helping, and 12 times writing letters against some of her clients. So it's not a fair story, and right now the onus is on the New York Times. He handled it pretty well yesterday. They said they were disappointed, and now, as we're talking, the whole media limelight, everything is watching the New York Times. What are you going to do
You
next?
want to know if there's going to be some accountability there, certainly. Well, Thom, thank you so much, and thanks for coming in and sharing your thoughts as well.
Thank you.
And what's interesting about it, very quickly, is that now it's being spun to where they're asking the New York Times to make a campaign contribution as a result of this, and McCain actually using this to his benefit.
It's certainly a good, a lot of people are talking about it, that's for sure.
Time right now coming up on 727. A suburban